Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Happy Kwaai Day. June 7th, Friday. And it's the 45th Kwaai Weekly Public Meeting. Glad to have you all here. And we've got a full agenda. I'm going to pass it over to Debbie to guide us through it.
Right, guys, I'm back this Friday. So nice to be here. I believe we're going to start with JD Miller with the lightning talk. Excited to have him here. And then we have a lot of great updates. It was a very busy week with Sam and Balaji and Janet, who's actually going to update us in the beta program. And Toby and Carson have a lot to say about the hackathon. And then if we have new voices, please speak up. Raise your hand at the end of the meeting. So without further ado, Reza, do you want to go? Or
right, I will introduce JD. We've got a full agenda. Let me just tell you what happened this week. Actually, last night I was at Jordan Schwartz's LA DevOps meetup, and we had a lot of fun there. It was at the Irish pub in Los Angeles, and Go look up on LinkedIn, connect with Jordan. He'll connect you with the next one. But if you go to the Kwaai events page, you will see what events we are all going to be attending this month. And if there are any more that we need to add to that list, just let me know and we'll publicize that to the community. We have our guest speaker, JD Miller. JD Miller is the SVP of CDM Media, and I've known him a while. He's a great analyst and commentator on the industry, and I thought it'd be informative to invite JD to come and talk. JD, I'm going to make you a co-host, so if you want to present, you can do that as well.
Perfect.
But tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, thanks, Reza. I appreciate you let me come on and talk and be part of this community. It's a really exciting time for what everybody's doing here. And let me share my screen real quick. Let me see if you can see it here in just a second. There we go. So really what I want to take you through a little bit is what I'm hearing out there in the marketplace from top leaders across the globe, right? So this is a little bit about me. As Reza mentioned, he and I go back quite a bit. I've been in marketing, leading organizations for, nearly about 30 years now. And in tech, finance, and in nonprofit. Former television broadcaster for CBS, NBC, and Fox. Led over 3,000 events, 400 podcasts, 300 roundtables, really dealing with that C-suite. CIOs, CISOs, CDOs, CHROs, CLO, CMO, EIEIO. You throw a C in front of it. The organization I'm with right now is CDM Media. We put events on for those individuals. So I'm leading these fireside discussions, these panel discussions, these podcasts, these dinners, these roundtables, as we're covering those types of events. So I want to share some of the insights that I've received. And at every one of my summits that I do run, I ask in the audience, raise your hand if someone in your organization has mentioned the letters AI in the last 24 hours. Every hand goes up, right? So then I bring this slide up and I say, well, here's some of the top concerns when it comes to AI: data privacy, security, bias, fairness, accuracy, reliability. You see the whole list here. And I look out at the audience and the audience is always like nodding their heads. Oh yeah, I get it. Yeah, absolutely. And I go, by the way, this list was generated by Gen AI. Always gets a chuckle, but it is fairly straight on there. And it's funny too, because one of my colleagues, the former CMO of IBM, Chris Bontempo, used to talk about Gen AI and say it's 100% confident in results that are 60% accurate, right? It's gotten better, but these types of events that we put on, AI is definitely leading it. So as I lead these conversations, I and I'm going to go through each persona very quickly, but I get the feedback at all of my events. What are your top challenges? What's keeping you up at night? Where are your struggles? Where's your focus right now? In 2023 for CIOs, digital transformation was number one, right? I always joke around about digital transformation. If I ask everybody on this call right now, what does digital transformation mean to you? I'm going to get 300 different answers. In my household, we went from a manual toothbrush to an Oral-B. That was our digital transformation, right? It means different things. Well, when we look at 2024, AI is key. Developing that AI enterprise strategy for those CIOs. For CMOs, it's that really building AI, and this is a group that's really fearful when it comes to where AI is going. Fearful for jobs, and you'll see that when I go to the HR one. But what is their role now with AI out there? It's continuing to change. For CHROs, right? They're not immune. Those HR leaders out there are using AI to spark growth within their organization. It also helps them addressing skills and talent gaps because there's so much that they're trying to fill, especially across the technology landscape at their organizations. AI is helping drive that as well. For that CDO, harnessing the power of AI, first and foremost, is what this year is all about. And then governance when it comes to AI. How does that look for these organizations out there? And it's a moving target. This is a group that always talks about we're building the plane while we're flying it. And then when you also look at the CISO, and I'm going to focus a bit more in my remaining minutes on the security end of things, because I hear a ton from those cybersecurity leaders when it's dealing with third-party risk, supply chain, an uptick in ransomware attacks. But really, AI's impact on cybersecurity is first and foremost in their mind. And if you look at last year, those top challenges of my audiences, cloud security being number one, risk assessment number two, AI was nowhere on that list. It is now, and it's going to shape the way we work, right? As we look at AI, and 90% of I love this stat, generative AI will be a workforce partner for 90% of companies globally, right? It's amazing how it's going to be in every part of our group. And this data was shared to me by Deloitte and Click, and looking at where large language models are going in organizations really aren't sure where they're going to go, as you see by that last 50% stat. Colleague at OrgView shared this one with me. The impact of AI is real, right? 66% of jobs have work that it's going to be impacted by AI, and 25% of current work tasks can be automated by AI. So let's break that down, right? When you break it down for different departments in different areas, office and admin can be shored up very quickly. Legal's using it, management, sales. The impact continues to be huge for organizations. So when I ask our people now, key executive issues, this isn't the AI generated one I showed you earlier. This actually came from my audience. Data privacy and security are the top concerns when dealing with AI across their organization. Ethical issues, job displacement, obviously. Bias and fairness is something we continue to deal with. But that loss of control is one, especially those IT leaders, those CEOs. That loss of control continues to be a huge issue for a lot of organizations. So let's put it in context, right? Projecting these figures out over the next few years, a number of economists, like the World Economic Forum, say that AI is going to boost productivity in developed countries by up to 40% by 2035. Listen, I know I'm speaking to the choir with everybody here in this room. We wouldn't be here if we're not passionate about it. But then the stats on this slide that really interests me the most, and this is provided by Goldman Sachs and IBM, is 80% of enterprises are working with or planning to leverage foundation models and adopt generative AI. But the 75% one sticks with me. And this is one that I hear over and over again at my summits across the globe. The failure to scale AI could put 75 organizations out of business, right? There's huge opportunity, absolutely huge opportunity, and huge opportunity for Kwaai, everybody in this group, as well as we're looking to grow. Yeah, IBM shared this with me. The business leaders face challenges in scaling AI across the enterprise. You have these four key tenets, right? Explainability, ethics, bias, trust. But the one that stuck out to me the most is trust. When dealing with business leaders, only 42% believe generative AI cannot be trusted. So we're not only have to get over, as AI leaders, we have to get over the issue of getting people to implement it, but getting it to people to trust it, our business leaders to trust it, and where things are going to be going, not only today, but in the future as we put these initiatives forward. The AI threat landscape continues to increase, and the fears out there are very real. Increased attack surface is one that I hear quite a bit. And the SVP of Resolve Tech Solution, Abdul Zafar, shared this with me in looking at the opaque decision-making, lack of transparency in AI decision-making processes. Again, this is perceived by those leaders out there. The weaponization of AI. Obviously, the bad actors are getting smarter because of AI. It's harder to detect what is AI and spreading that misinformation. And then supply chain is always a huge issue because these security leaders, these cybersecurity leaders, have shifted their mindset of not if, but when we get attacked. And they look at AI as one of those threat landscapes as well. So what do we do? That call to action that I hear from the leaders that I work with every single day, they want to identify and mitigate risks from a security standpoint. How do we do that? Do we have those robust security protocols in place? What about prioritizing explainability? Developing these AI models that are transparent is really key. The human aspect. I ran a podcast 2 weeks ago where it was all about don't lose the human element of AI, right? We need to be responsible for setting those objectives, monitoring performance, and intervening when necessary, and then champion collaboration. And that's what's great about Kwaai, right? We're championing collaboration in this group. We can take the lessons learned here and use those in our own organizations as well. So when we look at AI in the upcoming years, I love this slide. This was shared to me by Balaji Lakshmanan with Southern Glazers Wine and Spirits. And this kind of encapsulates it in a nice way. As we're shifting the focus from innovation to responsible AI, obviously there's legislative discussions that are happening every day. We need to increase public awareness, decrease public fear. Accountability frameworks need to be in place. That we are going to have stricter data privacy regulations. But at the end, the rise in human-centric AI is something that CIOs, CISOs, and across the board are really looking towards as well. So I use my 10 plus minutes. Please connect with me. I'd love to continue these conversations. I'm excited to be on the advisory board here at Kwaai to be part of something that I think is really moving the industry forward. And anyway, with that, I'll throw it back to you, Reza.
JD, thanks so much. I'm going to be in Chicago. I hope to meet you in person, reconnect with you. I'm going to be in Chicago towards the end of the month. This is fantastic. Thanks. It's good to get the perspective of what the business leaders are thinking. We, have immersed ourselves in this sort of subversive movement, and we often get very insular about our thinking, and it's important to understand what the perspective is from the other side of the fence, but not regarded as a fence. I think ultimately, in the same way that Linux revitalized the operating system space, I think we have the opportunity of doing the same and ending up with a healthier economy, a healthier industry as a result. Any questions for JD? See, there we go, Doc.
Yeah. So, am I audible? I hope so.
Yeah, we got you.
Yeah. So you didn't mention anything about personal AI, which is what Kwaai is all about. I mean, human-centric AI on the part of giant companies is more of the same thing. we're coming from an exactly opposite place. We're like the PC business in 1974, or maybe more hopefully in 1982, when we actually come to market with something that the world's going to want. But by the world, I mean you and me, everybody, everyday people who have their own AI of their own, that they own and control. And I'm wondering what you think about that. Where are you coming from on that?
So it's early-ish, for some organizations, especially for those CIOs and CISOs looking at that. The CHRO group, and again, it's throw a C in front of anything, right? But it's that CHRO group that I think is really prime for what we're doing here today. And I think that will, and that chief learning officer group. So that involves, a lot of academia, that group as well. I'm leading a discussion on Tuesday with that group, just around how they're planning on implementing and using it in their organization, right? So it's early for some groups, and I think it's going to be pushed through from the others. I don't know if that answers your question, Doc. And everybody looks at, listen, like digital transformation, AI means a lot of different things to a lot of different people, and most of it's not AI, as we know, right? But for those groups, I think they're early adopters.
Great. Carsten, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, thanks. I just good morning, JD. Thanks for coming to meet with us today. And I appreciate you helping me expand acronyms out there. It's the technical writer in me. I want to just go back to what Reza just said about, and also, this gets into what Doc was saying as well, that, that the Kwaai Foundation, we're trying to hold down one side of this conversation. What I've been noticing, and I wanted to see what your familiarity with the AI Alliance and what's going on with that. And what I'm finding is, from my perspective, the AI Alliance seems to be like the grass tips balance to our grassroots movement, that the goals are relatively aligned. Obviously that's a large organization, alliance in a different kind of structure. It's probably a 501c6 and so forth. But we do have good relationships with people that are in there. And I'm curious about the value of Kwaai, building a relationship as not as a counterpoint, but as that sort of grassroots to grass tips kind of thing when it comes to the AI Alliance.
Yeah, and I'm more attuned with Kwaai than the AI Alliance. But what I think, and part of the reason I also brought up all of these others and how they're using it, because it all will connect, right? And I think Kwaai, I like that analogy of grassroots versus grass tips. We got to fill in that middle ground between there, though, right? And I think that's where a bit of our challenge lies as AI leaders. So I'm not sure, it doesn't really answer your question too much, but having that connection with them, I think, is important.
Great, yeah, thanks. I put a link in the chat for folks who aren't familiar with it, but they're I think I view them as all of the corporations getting together, trying to stand opposite of the organizations like OpenAI that are basically saying that AI should be closed and limited and it needs to be controlled like a nuclear bomb or something like that. Thanks.
Excellent, thank you.
Great. I think, Michael, you've got your hand up.
Yeah, I was just curious, JD, thanks for being here. I echo some of the things that Doc was saying, but I'm curious to hear how you think we might make it attractive to C-suite company leaders to see the empowerment of individuals and a little more invitation to get information, as opposed to it being a crop that they're just trying to harvest as massively as they can, which I think is the attitude that the marketplace has sort of led them to. How can we turn that around so that they're aligned with us instead of in opposition?
It's education right now, in my opinion, right? We all know Kwaai, and thank you again, Carsten, for sharing the link on the AI Alliance. But it's truly education, because right now, from what I'm hearing from C-suite, the CEO or the board of directors they don't get it. They look at it as it's all Chat GPT, right? And that's their only exposure. So getting out to not only AI events, because AI events, that's an easy win for us, right? I think people will get it. Is going to those other types of groups, an IT group, it's going to a marketing group, to talk about the engagement of the individual and what that can mean for organizations, because these C-suite, I know we've got a lot of C-suite in here as well, but we get inundated like there's no tomorrow. If we had, tools like Reza has set up here, where we can answer the questions, and I don't have to be on back-to-back Zoom calls all day long, and we can be able to utilize it from an individual level and then get that buy-in. But again, what Kwaai needs to do, and this is for the marketing group, is continued visibility outside of the friendly zone, outside of those people who get it.
Okay. Well, thanks so much. We hope to get back onto schedule. Thanks so much, JD, for attending. Let me just make a few comments there. I'm going to be speaking at length with you when I come to Chicago. Hopefully we can align calendars. I'm there for the Chicago AI Week conference. And here's what I'm going to invite you to do, is help turn that entire message around. What's resonating in my head, what's ringing in my head is an earworm, and it's the song "Let It Go." And if any of you have, I don't have daughters, but I've got their friends who have daughters. Yes, from Frozen, that's the one. Let It Go. Corporations have been obsessing about customer data. In 2006, one analyst, much like yourself, called it the new oil.
Mm-hmm.
Data is the new oil. In fact, it got the headlines of The Economist magazine 2017. Data is the new oil. Even the vocabulary that's used when they talk about piping it and siloing it and refining it and extracting it all comes from the extractive industries that are, poisoning our planet. Extracting and data mining and holding millions of customers' data in their silos is a liability.
Mm-hmm.
It's not an asset. They really think that they can predict what you want to buy. And as Doc says, it's based on a false premise, a false model of you. You know better than they would ever be able to predict what you want to buy. So why don't they just ask you? Well, they couldn't, because they're machines and you're a human. But now you're going to have your own machine. You're going to have your personal AI assistant. And we believe that will completely invert the model. It will invert the B2C relationship and usher in a new era of me to B, where individuals are the first party in transactions and the first party in the relationship. We're already seeing this change happening in the marketplace, where you're seeing demand side action actually being the dominant action. If you look at how Uber operates and other more grassroots types of markets, that's not sort of subversive. That's what's going to happen. And so seeing that vision and being able to fill in the details and then start messaging that to businesses, I think that is radical. And we'd like to enlist you into our subversive army to help further that message. Right. Okay. Debbie, get us back on track. Thank you so much, JD.
You bet. Thanks, Reza.
Thank you. All right. So Sam or Roman for the architecture update.
Now, it looks like Sam's not on board. So
Roman?
I'm looking for a quick volunteer from the work groups to give us an update if Balaji's around.
Hey guys, if you can hear me, this is Balaji. Yeah, I can provide some updates. So first of all, I think on the OS side of things, Sam had made quite a few updates on that front. There is a develop branch on the GitHub now to enable others to participate and submit submit changes for merge on the OS side of things. Sam also has made some progress on getting Llama file, working with some of the models. I think we found a limitation where a model more than 4 GB is not able to run on Windows systems, and there's some progress there, trying to get that going. And more importantly, I think he has made significant updates in the last few days on getting the install process, like versioning, install, upgrade, uninstall, so that it's getting ready for the Pi assistant side of things, which is an application that's going to run on top of this PIOS. So these are the updates from SAP side of things. On the Pi assistant side of things, there's the effort to converge the efforts on the Pi assistant MVP, so it will leverage on the OS side of things. So on that front, I think it's important that we have some progress there on the install, uninstall, and packages and dependencies side, so we can start working with that. The work group met and discussed a few other user flows. The Arcus Nexus team has produced some Figma mockups for both educator side as well as the student side of things, and it's currently being reviewed. So that's great progress there. And we also met with the Cornell team, and I'm sure we'll hear more about it, and we are eager to get some feedback from their side, playing with our current POC, so we can incorporate some of those in the assistant project as well. So that's pretty much it.
Okay, fantastic. And you know, I'm going to invite anyone that's played with the software, tried to install it. I know Robert Binning has been leading that charge in like kicking the tires on the software and getting finding where the install bugs are and so on. So Robert, I wonder if you can just give us perspective.
Yeah, hey everybody. I've been playing around with it quite a bit. I got it running on Windows pretty easily. It was really smooth. So that wasn't a problem. I've been trying to migrate it over for OS X, and that's where I've been running into a little bit more trouble. I'm able to get it running, but every time I query something, I get a JSON error. So I'm trying to figure out that JSON error right now. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to work on it very much yesterday. So hopefully later today, I can dive back into that. It shouldn't be too big of an issue. And then once that is solved and I've got that running well on Mac OS, I'm going to work on doing more of an install script, kind of along what Sam had been doing, that can determine your operating system version, pull the right Llama databases down, and install it all for you, independent of having to choose yourself. So yeah, I think it's going really well. It's pretty cool when you're able to train it with your own data. That was really neat, just putting in a bunch of PDF files into a folder and then training your AI based on that. It runs really well. Just need to do some tweaks to get it working on Mac.
Great. Okay, thanks. So I'm going to fill in for Janet on the update. Let me share quickly. So this is available for anyone to see. It's on the Kwaai beta page. Okay, so you all know that we are planning to run a beta test in Q3. Now, the development that you just heard about the report, that is the development to get the code ready for the beta. Okay, and the beta is going to run in academia, in colleges and universities and research institutes as well. We have a goal of 20 to 30 colleges across the country and possibly even in Europe. So this is a stepping stone to where we want to go, but it's important for us to get the personal AI platform, the operating system and the front end into the hands of more people so that we can get user feedback. The goals for us would be refining the features, optimizing the performance of the system, and really understanding how to characterize its performance. There are 3 broad use cases that we're going to unleash. The left-hand use case is more for an institution's administrator. So there they would, the knowledge base of the bot would be their policy documents, student code of conduct manual, procedures, and so on. Apparently there's a lot of it, and this is a pain point in many institutions. It's a pain point actually for many companies. The Lumi bot is a great example of retrieval augmented generation, allowing you to have a conversation with a vast tome of documentation that you probably would never read, and it's more engaging to actually have a question and answer session with it. The middle one is targeted at the persona of the celebrity professor. These are professors in colleges and universities that are well written. They've got a number of textbooks, they've got lots of essays, they've got a lot of writing. And so if you want to have a conversation with that body of writing, you can do that. And the Bruce Schneier bot, and Bruce Schneier was the one that asked us to create this bot. Bruce Schneier is an expert in cryptography and trust and security, and he's professor at Harvard. The penny bot is meant for easing the pain of the professor. Every professor complains now that 9, 10, 11 o'clock at night, students are emailing them saying, hey, I don't understand this last assignment prompt. Can you explain it? For an assignment that's due at midnight. And the sort of entitlement of young students nowadays, they expect a turnaround. Why? Because they're the customers. They feel like, hey, we're paying a lot of money. We need that feedback, and we need that turnaround time. And don't go downgrading me if you've not responded, because I asked you the question and it wasn't clear. So that's the situation that where personal AI now acting as a tool or an assistant to a professor can help field those questions and say, hey, it's in the curriculum, here's the answer, here's the citations of where you'd find the answer, but this is the answer. So these bots are actually up and running. You can go and play with them. You can go and click on these links over here, Lumi, Bruce, and Penny, and give them a try. We're asking the colleges to host these backends. For many of the senior colleges, we just got off a call yesterday with Cornell Medical School. This is no problem. They said, yep, in fact, let's start doing a pre-beta. They'll actually take the source code and they'll actually build it from scratch. And that'll be a learning exercise for them. They're doing that now. And we will engage with them organically as it goes along, but they seem to be leading the charge. So we've got Cornell. We've got, the Bruce Schneier bot is for a Harvard professor. So I think we've got Harvard. We haven't closed that conversation with their IT department yet, but I think we've got a good champion inside Harvard. And then we're aiming to get several more. In the whole beta program, we've also got vendors coming along. We've got a couple of vendors that are prepared to underwrite the infrastructure cost for those colleges that don't have this hardware. And what we're finding is that they're actually academic networks where there is shared infrastructure, and we could actually deploy on that shared infrastructure. So we should get smarter about that. I know Carsten is already in communication with Boston University. That seems to be the NERC is a shared compute resource. There's also the MassU shared compute resource. We need to look at installing the PIOS on that and have it running there, and having colleges connect there, so that the hardware cost is not a barrier to entry. So this is fantastic learning. This is an area I don't know about. Actually, the guy who's well entrenched in this space is Afshin Beheshti, our president. Afshin, I wonder if you can just say a few words, if you're on, about how the beta program is being received.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I mean, the beta program, I mean, at least for the universities that we've talked to that I know, yeah, I mean, they like it because, I mean, one thing in academia, it's not, you know, there's of course the professors that Reza mentions that are like, you know, they teach classes, but of course in academics, there's research scientists like me who might not teach classes, or they teach classes sometimes, and then there's the, you know, research side where they have a lab and they do research. And that's where the Cornell side, I think, would be more keen there, creating a Pi lab assistant. So, you know, for example, like friend and colleague there that we're cloning him basically. You know, he wants to have, let's say, his Pi assistant every day scrub his Slack channel, and then it's this personal, you know, update of the lab, what's happening in the lab every day. So it's like the Pi, the clone is actually creating a cool update of like, who's the new lab people, what are they working on, what code are they writing, what experiments are they doing. So someone can just go every morning to the clone of Chris, his name is, and say, hey, what's happening, you know, what's the new experiments, things like that. Anyway, but yeah, I think the universities are key, but the key is, I mean, not just go through like one person, because the key is you got to go through the right person. So I think there's a lot of professors might be interested, but if they don't have connections with the IT department, it's not going to go anywhere. And the key is having the professors that are connected with the IT departments and have a lot of sway, like the Bruce Schneier's. I imagine he probably has a lot of sway in the IT department there. But you know,
Right.
yeah.
And Chris Mason, thanks so much for introducing us to Chris Mason. He seems to be extremely influential. At the same time we were doing this, we were applying for a grant, and the grant is the AI Challenge grant, and it's a grant in California, and I'm just going to share.
It spans all community colleges, UCs. Are you going to share the screen?
I will, yeah. So the
yeah.
AI Challenge grant. Okay, the deadline to submit a letter of
Today.
intent, a statement of intent, is today. Good news is we submitted it yesterday. So we the lead, the host college is a community college. They actually say that the applications will be strengthened if there is intersegmental collaboration. What the heck does that mean? Well, that's California speak for having collaborations across the multiple segments of the further education system. So that's UCs, the CSUs, and the CCCs, the California Community Colleges. So we needed to get rapidly an alliance of folks, and we were missing. In fact, we had a conversation with UCLA, the UCLA extension guy, Frederick, and then at the last minute he pulled out. He pulled out of our, well, we think it's a temporary pause. So then we were on the call with Chris Mason and said, Chris, here's a favor we need from you. We need someone in the UC system who would jump in and fill in that space. And he nominated someone, and quickly I emailed that person, copied Chris, and we got them from UC San Francisco to come on board. And so that fills in the space. And so we were able to make the application. So look, things are moving. The beta program is actually a catalyst for other stuff to happen, and it helps get our personal AI platform. It's a stepping stone to where we want to go. This isn't the end goal. It's a tactic, not a strategy. It's a closed beta, but we're aiming for general availability in Q4. Okay, I'm going to stop presenting. Debbie, get us back on schedule. Acronym soup, yeah.
All right, I guess Toby or Carson, whoever wants to go and talk to us about the hackathon.
AZ is in the Arizona version.
Yep.
Toby, you want to pull up you get your tick over there? All right.
Yes. Oh, sorry. the views.
A list of cities that are on the website, but we've recently added a couple that we haven't. Phoenix, Arizona being one of them, and Toby will tell us all about it. Go ahead, Mom.
Yes. So some of the milestones, we're still working on branding goals, but here's an update, and I'll show you guys some of the progress. So you guys saw the logo. Also, I want to bring attention to DevPost. If you haven't signed up on DevPost, please do. And we've got so far Denver, LA, SF, and Seattle events live. And John, me, and Carson are working to get the rest live. This is what the page looks like. And so here's where we have all the prizes. You know, it'll be like the central kind of place where we manage the hackathon, all the entrants that are not physically in the building with us. So DevPost is a great tool. This is our flyer. So on site, when people check in, they'll get a flyer that'll kind of break down the days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday for them. And this is what it's looking like. This is the flyer, a handout that we're going to be promoting at other hackathons to drive visibility of the event in local markets. And this will be changed for each market. Oh, and these top sponsors, these are not, we didn't get any money, everybody. Just want to let you know. These are Techstars sponsors that we, as part of the licensing deal, we have to promote them. So just want to make that aware. Swag, this is update. So we're working on the swag. These are the sweatshirts for the organizers, like our Kwaai team members that are in the city. We're going to do a really special kind of hoodie for them. And so it has the hoodie lined with a nice print. We haven't come up with the print. We don't know. Maybe it'll be, you know, something to do with a logo, maybe something, icons from the event. Also, it'll have a pocket, custom pocket in the front. And this is kind of we're doing a custom patch. And so this is the designers working on the patch. And then these are going to be limited, right? So each sweater will be limited. So if we do 50 of them, there'll be one of 50 and they'll be limited. And the idea there is because we're doing this Web3 stuff, you know, I don't want to put any pressure on the Web3 people in the community, but I'd be open to having an NFT as part of the access to the event that unlocks these limited edition, you know, kind of things. So Web3 people, like, ping me, let's figure out if we can do this or if it's not feasible for this event. T-shirts, we're thinking tie-dye. And you guys can weigh in on the designs as we get them from the designer. We'll have these custom labels, and we're thinking this is a sponsor opportunity, right? So the T-shirt could be sponsored, the label on the inside by one of our sponsors. So I'm pitching this to some people now. We'll see who bites.
Tie-dye. A tie-dye T-shirt.
Tie-dye, that's right, baby, exactly. So Discord group, if you haven't joined, please do. LinkedIn, once again, if you haven't added a role to your LinkedIn profile, please. It helps us drive visibility and quantify our growth to sponsors. Repost the content. You know, no one's network is too small. Advisors, please book a call with me. We need more partners on the hackathons. That's both outreach, sponsors, mentors, attendees. We need mentors for Musa Capital Summer of Code, the externship program that's shaping up really nice. Actually, we have Alan on the call. We'll let him, if he wants to say, give a little update about Arizona and how that's shaping up. And the externship program, we'll give them 2 minutes to do that. Mentors, we need more. So please step up. Colleges, we need more colleges for the beta program. Mentors, HBCUs, if you have any connections for Musa, please reach out to Alan directly or me or Karsten, and we'll get those folks in touch with Alan. Product owners, we do still need more. Thank you, anyone who has stepped up recently. Graphic designers, Michael, I think was gonna help with that. And then content. If you have content stories, send them to me. Like I told Sam, you know, send it to me. We'll write the story for you, give you the content, and then you can post it under your own profile, right? We've got a pretty streamlined process for pumping out content now. And I don't feel any pressure with these interns coming on. I think we'll be able to do a lot more in the coming weeks. So that's the update for marketing. Carson, you want to add anything to that? Oh, and MLH, you want to give them a little MLH as we did?
Oh, good idea. Thank you. So yeah, let me work backwards really quick here. So Major League Hacking is a international group that basically puts on hackathons, code camps, and then they basically their model is to work with the top 1% of those to come out of those code camps and carry them further, like evolve their careers, take them into businesses and as like paid internship programs and things. And they're really successful in terms of how they approach bringing people into coding and you know, making things accessible and also handling all the cohorts and stuff. So we've just I've had a relationship with them for a couple of years but Toby thought of it long before I did, gave them a cold call and brought our connection together. So I had a good, we're basically not, you know, it's not nailed down yet what we're going to get to do with everyone, but we know that there's good alignment there. It's a good opportunity to kind of partner up in a formal and informal way around promoting what we're doing. And
I think the highlight, Carson, I want to just highlight is that they want to do high school hackathons with us.
So exactly they're really what they're really interested in doing is breaking into high school hackathons. It's a real challenging area for various pieces, and our Atlanta program looks really nicely lined up to be able to do that. So that's the one that we're looking at right now, is if we can add not a hackathon but like a hack day, because at the high school level the challenges have to be doable. People have to be able to succeed. It can't be a harder, higher level challenge. So think about more like a hack day event, but then in parallel, so those students and their families who are coming along with them will get a chance to experience part of the hackathon as well. So yeah, so that's the MLH thing. I wanted to hit, Toby might want to, if there's any questions that we have, I don't know if folks need to know about Techstars starters and stuff, we can put the link somewhere. Yeah.
One more update. Dave Nielsen is no longer with MongoDB. He is our guy at the AI Alliance.
Is that public knowledge yet?
That is.
Okay, thank you. That wasn't sure.
So, officially, he starts the job in 12 days. So he is planning, if we do the LA event, he is planning to participate in that event. We're thinking about pushing the date back, only because UCLA is going to provide a location. They can't do it for the weekend we have. So we're thinking about pushing back. So that's, I think, is that it, Carson?
I think so. There was one last thing that was on your last slide. I forgot what it was. Can you hit your last slide really quick? I know we're going a little long, but there's a lot of stuff this week. It was, yeah, if there's any questions about Techstars, you can hit us up separately or get in chat. It was the call to action slide. Yeah. Oh, it was just about HBCs. Parallel question, if anybody here knows of any HBCs, particularly in Georgia, that are looking to get to R1 school research status, like I mean, of course, everyone wants to, but are actively working on it, let us know, because there's a good alignment possibility in terms of helping them do that through the work we're doing. Thanks.
Hello, everyone. This is Alan Smith, general partner at Musa Capital. I just wanted to quick shout out to this community and thank you guys for all the support across all these initiatives. I'm super excited to be partnering with everyone on the hackathon. One thing I wanted to give an update is the potential to bring a hackathon to Arizona. There's been actually some very meaningful progress made there. ASU has actually offered up space at the Santan Ford Club. It has capacity for up to 700, 400 seated. My understanding is I think that this space should be sponsored. I'm going to be meeting with the representative, Kelvin Beacham from the Arizona Cardinals, a prolific angel investor in Arizona, to see if you'd be willing to partner in terms of selecting a date. We're targeting something in the fall, but meaningful progress being made on the Arizona Hackathon. We should hopefully have a date within like the next couple of weeks. And just very much thank you to this community for all the support.
Hi. James Tynes. Briefly, I just wanted to talk about the 2 points that Toby and Carson brought up when it comes to HBCU and high school. I did a hackathon with Prince and they started Yes We Code, where we took high schoolers on a 5-state tour that started in Florida, ended in New Orleans, and every location that we did in between, which would be Atlanta, Tennessee, and another market, we did on college campuses. But my point is, these high school kids are really awesome. They get it. They can grind out a 3-day event, and they did it. and this was back in 2014, 2015. And in regards to even younger, I partnered with Startup Weekend when they did 2 years of an EdTech middle school hackathon, where it was some school up in the Bay Area, Mountain View, and then you had a sister school in Latin America. And these kids were able to strip the code from Flappy Birds, which was a popular program at the time, and turn it into academic products. So don't sleep on what these young kids could do when it comes to embracing technology, period. At the other point, and that's pretty much it. So I'll be reaching back out to the team I'm on with Carson and with Toby such to definitely make sure that there are high school and HBC partners that are in our network who are AI leaning, who can leverage what we're bringing to the table. But again, don't sleep on what these young people can do.
Thanks, James. Sam, you've got your hand up, and then let's go to new member voices.
Yeah, I just wanted to give you a 30-second update. I don't know, I guess so me and this GPU here are getting a bit hot. It starts to heat up here in Vancouver. So I had to run out and grab an air conditioner. But got one now, so that's good. Got to keep everything cool. Can I have host for a second, please?
Sure. Okay, let's make you.
So been very busy again on some really important behind the scenes stuff. So once we start getting into building abilities, you're going to need to have the ability to do upgrades, right? Updates and upgrades and stuff. So what I've added is versioning throughout. So you see here we've got a package version and a product version. So we manage our own packages currently in a mono repo, but later on you can imagine being able to install an ability from a third-party GitHub repo. And then we've got Ansible's currently version 9, but our package is 0.1.0. And we have then the ability to install and uninstall. And you can see here, this one is the current version is 0.1.1, so we can upgrade as well. So it doesn't look like a lot, but it's a lot. I've also done some, as I said before, I've built a quite capable download manager, because we need to download both large and large numbers of small files. So now the download manager is really nice, really responsive. You can pause, you can resume, you can delete downloads, you can, hopefully let's give it, you can download a bunch of stuff at the same time and that kind of stuff. So that's all going nicely, as you can see here. So that happy days there. And then the other thing that I've done is I've turned on schema validation coming in and out of the system. So what that looks like is here I just say to I say to connection, everything that's coming in and out of the system, you have to make sure that you are strictly validating it against the spec. And the spec is here, and so everything now is defined with schemas. And if you look at the schemas down the bottom, everything is a regular expression. So if anyone's done any programming or security would know, so this is a regular expression that validates that the thing is a UUID 4. So if you try and put in like an ID 123 or some other thing and try and hack it, then you will get an error. So if I, for example, try to where's my, I can't do that in the browser. It doesn't matter. It's just unit code. So if I try and do a path traversal attack, it's going to give me a 400 error. So that, again, not something that's very obvious, but something that's very important for our security. You can take that schema, upload it into Cloudflare, and Cloudflare will block anything that doesn't comply before it even sees your server. Currently, it's blocked by connection before it even sees our code, so that's really cool. It is, and you can't really see here, but it is really, really fast to come in and manage your assets and your users and that kind of stuff. It's absolute grease lightning. So very, very soon, and the reason I did that is because users are going to start putting data in it, and I don't want anybody getting hacked. So I did spend a good bit of time. The other thing was that Llama file, the very first file, worked fine on all the platforms, but it is 30 megabytes smaller than the 4 gigabyte limit on Windows. And the result of that was that everything else doesn't work on Windows, because who needs more than 640 kilobytes? Well, we've had to now move from Llama file to Llama llama.cpp, and I have built a package for fetching the latest and greatest version of llama.cpp, depending on your NVIDIA chips, your AVX, AVX2, AVX512 supporting your CPU, and it'll download. You'll appreciate that, a reference to media industry in the 90s there, Reza. And it'll download the latest version for you and get all that installed. Anyway, that's me. I'll let you get back to the member voices.
Right. Well, in the last 3 minutes, look, we're going to dive into that deeper in the idea exchange, maybe in the next meeting. I've just posted the link for the idea exchange. Anybody, it's like this is the after party after Kwaai Day. But look, we've got a couple of minutes left. Let's hear from some member voices. So, new members, welcome to put up your hand and introduce yourself.
Come on, don't be shy.
Oh, I'm going to call on you. And I'm going to call on... Gosh, okay.
I'll go Reza. Hey, John Lennox.
I'm going to call on you, John, actually. Carry on.
I am a music and tech mutt. Been doing it for 35 years. Been really focused on immersive experiences the last few years and doing a lot of stuff in VR. One of the companies that I work with is Kluge Interactive. We've got a very successful VR game, and we were on a team call earlier today, and about half the team was there. It was 80 employees globally, and I was talking about this agenda, and a whole bunch of folks from Kluge are going to start and get in, and super excited. So thank you for the opportunity, sir.
John, that's fantastic. We've been talking about kind of the gamification of the whole experience. And if you look at the front end of our personal AR UI, it is a delicious video representation of a face, but the technology from the games industry we could really use in that. I mean, there's a lot more that we should be doing in the browser rather than server-side generation, and I think that's going to be the sort of technical direction that we move, and so yeah, looking forward to that collaboration. Bring him on. Thanks so much, John.
Thumbs up, video game tech in the browser from Steve.
Hey, and I totally forgot to mention, I'm going to put the link to the DIY Arcade who wants to partner with us. This is Brent Bushnell. You guys may know him in LA folks. He's got an awesome open source project that he wants to make part of the Pi-Palooza Hackathon. So please take a look. If you guys want to get involved with that, let me know. But
Okay.
Love the gaming folks. Welcome. Thank you.
Fantastic. Okay. Well, look, thanks very much. I'm going to head over to the after party, the idea exchange session, and well, just last night I was at a pub, an Irish pub, O'Brien, and rather than doing death by PowerPoint, I had our AI bot do all the talking, and I was just sort of standing aside, either typing questions or asking questions, and it was actually quite refreshing to have somebody else talk, and you could then look at the audience and get their impression. And I was there with my hoodie on, and we had a lot of fun. So Jordan, thanks so much for inviting me. That was a cool.
Yeah, that was a nice twist. Very good.
Okay, look, 11 o'clock. We got follow-on meetings, so I'm going to hop. Thanks very much. Happy Kwaai Day, the 45th Kwaai Day. Let's keep it going. Thank you. Bye.